Welcome to Intimacy Evolution, the podcast that helps you enjoy deeper connection and more intimacy in your relationships. I'm Brianna Carey, relationship and intimacy coach, and together with my husband Mark, a licensed professional counselor, we're here to help couples create the relationships they crave. Relationships evolve over time, and that's okay. Let's talk about it.
How do you want to get started today?
Well, just diving right in, I guess.
Let's give a synopsis of what today's episode is going to be over. It's going to be a reflection on some travel we took. The drama, the pain, the beauty, the everything in between.
Silver linings.
Yep.
Yeah, just all the things. The trip that almost was not.
That's right. And think about your favorite drama. That this had everything. This had all of it.
Like your favorite TV show or movie for sure. Like I honestly kept looking around thinking we were
Is
pumped.
this real life?
Yeah. I'm like, is this really happening right now? Like, yeah.
So
we're going to tell you all about it.
Yeah.
And we're going to tell you how, not just about the trip itself, but honestly, how impressed I am with our relationship that we were able to survive it. That is the main underlying point of today's podcast. Not just telling you our story, but telling you that the skills that we've used, that we've built, and how we were able to apply them to this extremely chaotic situation.
Yeah, so we have a celebration of us today.
Yeah.
Our relationship, the skills we've built, what we've done, as well as tears, laughter, panic, all of the above, sleep deprivation. Blah, 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 blah. Yep, sleep deprivation. That's it.
Lack of sleep.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. So we went on a cruise with our family. So my dad and stepmom gifted all of us kids a cruise for Christmas this year. That was our gift. Instead of just giving us stuff or just giving us money, they're like, hey, we want to spend more time together. Let's go enjoy a cruise. We're like, heck yeah, we're in. And it was scheduled for the first week after New Year's. So New Year's was like a Wednesday. We left on, we were leaving on a Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we got through the holidays, and then you guys know our previous situation of moving in December.
Or if you don't, we moved in December.
Yeah, we moved in December, had the holidays, and then go straight into this trip and straight into homeschooling. So stay tuned. So this was a gift. We had a lot of things to plan before this even started. We have our dog, and we had to figure out who was going to watch her. We don't really know of any pet services in Bentonville. I'm sure there are. We just haven't researched them. Again, we had a lot going on. And since we were going to be flying out of Kansas City, we decided to send her to our cousins, the professional trainers. They also do boarding.
Good dog, Casey. Shout out.
Yep. And so we were like, hey, do you have space for her this week that we're gone? And they're like, absolutely. So she already knows them. It's familiar. Okay. So check. We also had a wrestling tournament that day.
So we were going to fly out Sunday from Kansas City originally, I think. Or was it Saturday night?
Oh,
still?
gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Let's back up to right before, previously the week.
So,
oh, my gosh, yes.
Coming into the weekend, we are going to a wrestling tournament Saturday morning. That's an hour north. It's an hour closer to Kansas City. It's a 3-hour drive from Bentonville to Kansas City. So we're going to go to the wrestling tournament for half a day, drive up, spend the night in a hotel, fly out with the family on Sunday.
Yep.
Well, then this massive storm gets forecasted. It's coming. We know it's coming. So your stepmom moved up the flights to Saturday night instead of Sunday. Try to beat the storm.
We did not.
That is the part of it. We did not. So went to the wrestling tournament, going pretty well. At the same time, we're a little bit of like, we're watching the clock. Our son has to be done at a certain time in order to get Kansas City to make the plane out to Galveston.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Sunday's cruise.
Yeah. So
I advocated, moved up some of his matches so that
we could leave a little bit earlier, but the storm was already starting to come in.
Yep.
Came in a little bit earlier than it was anticipated. And so being south of the storm, we were just getting a lot of rain at that time. We had 6 bags of luggage.
Yep.
So we had like a, what is that? Like a rack on the back?
Yeah, luggage carrier on the back of our hitch.
Have it tarped.
No, we did not start with it tarped.
So we start driving.
It starts raining.
It starts raining. We go to Walmart, get a tarp, about 45 minutes to get there. So all of our stuff was getting, rained on. Get that. It's starting to turn to ice. We're about halfway to Kansas City, but what should have been like a 2-hour drive took us, I don't know, ended up being like 5.5 hours to drive to Kansas City.
Yeah.
And so as we're driving, we're staying in touch with my stepmom. My dad had already been out. It was starting to snow and it was icing up real bad. And he had already had some like experiences with it, like sliding off the road and different things like that. We were about an hour, well, what would normally be an hour out of Kansas City. Yeah. And we had this thought, we're like, do we just turn around now and start driving to Galveston and meet them there?
Which would have been like a 10-hour drive. So not terrible. We could have stayed overnight, got a hotel, 2-day trip, be there by the time to leave on the cruise. The cruise left at 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had that thought.
We had the thought. We're like, okay, we're already here. We would just want to stay with a family and whatever happens, happens.
Yeah. So probably should have turned around.
Probably hindsight, but also we'll get to why that probably was a good idea that we didn't at the same time. So we continue driving up to Kansas City. At this time, the Kansas City airport is getting shut down because their only snow removal vehicle is broken.
Yeah, to remove the snow and the ice from the runways. Yeah.
So right now, KCI is closed. We're still driving to Kansas City. We get to our cousins. We're dropping off Suki. We decide to like hang out there for a little bit because everything's up in the air at the moment. So we take a little reprieve. We've been in the car for 5 hours. So we get a call from my stepmom. The airport is back open, but our flight has been pushed back to, I don't know, it was like 8 or 9 o'clock. And we're like, okay, cool. And we were originally going to meet at their house. We had a shuttle that was going to take all 12 of us to the airport, and they canceled that. They couldn't even get to them because they live in a very rural part of Kansas City, and so like their roads were trash and a lot of people were already sliding off the road and stuff, and so it's like everybody just meet at the airport. Well, first we're trying to figure out where we're going to park, so we ended up going to the Hilton, parking there, and then we could just take the shuttle to the airport. So we were hanging out there for a little bit because again the flight was delayed, and at this point it's like 6 o'clock, so we were waiting a little bit. Finally get up to the airport at 7:30. We're hanging out, waiting for everybody. They get there about 8 o'clock. We get through security. Would you like to take it from here, babe, and share a little piece of your experience?
Yeah. So we hadn't ate all day. So we were trying to find places open at the airport because some were open, some were closed. And everybody's going to the bathroom because we've got out of the car and everything. So it's kind of chaos. I sat down.
Again, 12 people that we're managing.
I set down my hoodie and my snow jacket, like my winter awesome, I take to ski trips type of jacket, my coat. And we kind of
want during a snowstorm.
Yes. We turn around, everybody's kind of going every which way, and I left it on the counter right there. And about 30 minutes later, the shop closed up, and I realized I didn't have it, and it was locked behind the gate, and security couldn't get it for me. And I called the next day, tried to get it. Anyways, it's still missing. It's not in their lost and found, and somebody probably took it home. So that was that's painful for me right now.
Yeah, and we can. Yeah, that's a whole other side note. I went.
I'm known. I mean, I lose stuff sometimes. So
snowboard coat and his new Heights sweatshirt.
Yeah,
which was
podcast sweatshirt.
Yeah. Anywho, so we're at the airport again. We have 2 small kids. My little sister's 11. They're all hanging out, and we're eating and our flight just keeps getting pushed back. But they did tell us, Southwest, I am calling you out because I'm quite upset with you. They told us specifically, like, don't worry, folks, you will get out of here tonight.
Mm-hmm. There were a couple other planes that got out, and they're like, yeah, your plane's here, you're getting out.
Yeah. So it's fine. Things were just getting delayed. About 11 o'clock. Again, my kids are not going to sleep. They are normally in bed by 8 o'clock. They're little gremlins right now. Okay. It is not fun. And then also just managing the stress and like chaos of trying to figure out what's going on, because they're asking, are we going to leave? Are we going to leave? Are we going to leave? And I'm like, I don't know. It's that we're trying to teach Remington the phrase, expect nothing, experience everything, like surrendering to the experience. Yeah. Like we're all in the same boat and living this experience together. Like we'll figure it out. And so finally it was like midnight and they're like, all right, folks, sorry. We're not getting out tonight. Come see us at the counter, basically.
Flight's canceled.
So we're upset because they lied. They told us that because of the delays that the pilots had timed out. And so we're at the counter. We're trying to figure out how we can get out of here.
First, they're like, we'll rebook you Monday morning.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, our cruise leaves Sunday.
Yeah, huh? It doesn't work for us.
And there are some airports within driving distance that hadn't been hit by the storm. Des Moines, a couple hours north, 3 hours north. And
we were looking at like Tulsa,
yeah, other places down south because it's warmer. And there's a direct flight from Bentonville on Sunday morning that would make it in time.
Well, we didn't know that yet. We were looking at these other ones, though, first because we're trying to...
No, I knew that, but... We are trying to book with Southwest just because it would be simpler.
Yes.
And Southwest doesn't fly out of Bentonville. So anyways, eventually we got to this point that there was no way we were getting there with Southwest. And so they said, no, we'll do a full refund for all 12 of you.
A full refund, Southwest.
Anyways, that's
come.
not really part of, like, that's not
is
our
part
problem.
It's part of the story, but whatever.
Yeah, they didn't.
It was a credit, but they did not say, the ticketing agent did not say that. So I'm a little peeved about it, but anywho.
Yeah, anyways. So.
I am adding to the story here.
Yeah, you are adding some unnecessary pieces, some great pieces.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anywho.
But this is the point that I want to start to reflect on this right here.
Okay,
so
great.
We have a decision to make.
Yep.
We have little kids crying because they don't think we're going to make it. We have other people that said, like, I took off work. Like the next time I can take off work for this amount of time would be 3 months from now if we had to reschedule. If we didn't make the cruise, they would give us credit, but we'd lose 10%. And so we're trying to figure out what to do, what we want to do. We all have been looking forward and want to go on this trip together.
Yeah.
And I felt like your stepmom and me were being looked at to make decisions, which was great. I'm fine with that. I can make decisions. I think I've been reflecting on this for the last several months. At what point is enough? At what I can be resilient, I can push through.
Yeah.
I can do anything to make something happen, but should I?
Right.
Is that good?
Right.
Like maybe this is a sign, like you want to go to like higher power and like the meaning, like
yeah.
Maybe it's a sign, maybe you know, I should slow down and step back and say, no, let's just reschedule. And maybe that's a choice we could have made. In the moment, though, it's getting late. I want to go. It's just kind of like...
I mean, we had been up since 6 o'clock that morning.
Yeah, and everyone was kind of on the same page of, if we can make this happen, let's make it happen.
Let's, just exhaust all of our resources so we can say that we did.
Yeah. And so about 12:30 or so, we made the decision to drive through the storm, back down to Bentonville, where we started. And fly out Sunday morning because we figured that the 3-hour drive would be a lot longer. The flight was at like 9 o'clock in the morning. So that gave us an extra buffer. And so we're like, yeah, we can do it. We'll have to drive throughout the night. We'll see what the conditions are. We'll head straight to the airport. We'll leave. But And then everyone was kind of on board with that. So
Yeah,
we
so
started
3 vehicles.
getting cars ready. We had 3 vehicles, a bunch of luggage.
Yeah.
And we started this trek back.
At 2:00 in the morning, mind you.
Yeah.
It is now, by the time we got all of our cars from everywhere and got situated, snacks for the road and fuel, like it was 2:30 before we actually got on the road that we started driving.
And luckily our kids were asleep.
Yes, again, our children were up until 2:00 in the morning. They were little gremlins. It was wild. But they were also troopers. Like they really held it together. I'm honestly so impressed with them. Yeah, so we started driving throughout the night.
Yep. And that
another 5.5 hours.
We got down to Bentonville to the airport around
7:30.
7:38.
Yeah, and again, our flight is supposed to be at like 9ish. Yeah.
We made it. Like the last 30 minutes was a struggle.
Oh, so tough.
And it was raining the whole time. I was driving. My attention was focused on the road. We were having to go slower because it was just rain. But at any point in time, that rain could have been ice.
Yeah.
And so just this heightened level of cortisol and anxiety and just like attention and when the sleep deprivation and everything else. And, and I didn't feel at any point that it was like necessarily unsafe. I think we did a really good job, and
we were all checking in with each other, making sure everybody was doing okay. If anybody needed a break,
my co-pilot stayed awake the whole time.
Yeah, I was very entertaining. I wish I would have recorded it, y'all. I was getting silly, like we had fun.
Yeah,
but again, even in that, like reflecting, like there was no arguing, there was no like bickering between us. We were just very go with the flow with all of it, which I'm very impressed with, because sometimes we do have like travel fights. Like we have little moments where we like bicker or we're like stressed out and stuff like that. Again, with everything going on, it was just very relaxed. I don't know. It was very easy. What are your reflections on that?
Like as you say that, I think I'm asking myself, how come? Why? Yeah. Like, those times are not a problem. Like it's common. Conflict happens. There's like a disagreement about what we should do, how we should do it, or something. Mm-hmm. For instance, packing bags is always interesting. I do it in a very short amount of time.
Well, you don't have to go there, Mark. Okay, we're fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Not necessary to the story.
We don't. You don't want to fight about that right now.
We each have our own process, and it is fine.
Sometimes you want me to obey to your process, though.
I just wish you would delay a little bit. Like just meet me.
Just slow down on my packing and
meet me
stay
where
on
I'm
the same
at,
schedule as you.
Yeah, I don't know why it's so hard. Anywho,
but yeah,
I feel like every couple has this dynamic, right? There's one that can just throw stuff in a bag and be great, and then the other one is like very meticulous, and it's a little bit more of a process. Like, please tell me that you also have this in your relationship. Okay. Anywho, so we're in Bentonville. We are waiting for the plane. Mm-hmm. We are getting on the plane, and we're sitting there for a little bit. And then they're like, sorry, folks, we've got a little mechanical issue. We're going to deplane so we can get this figured out. You guys can go to the bathroom if you need to, whatever. So we're like, okay, now like we literally have to be in the air by a certain time. Otherwise, we will not make this trip. And at that moment, we were all like, if we don't get on at this time, like we did everything we could. Mm-hmm. We just have to accept the fate. And there was a reason we were not getting on that plane at that moment. The trip won't happen. That's fine. They'll stay in a hotel for a little bit, like overnight, and go home the next day. Yeah. And so at that point we were coming to terms with this trip is most likely not going to happen. And then I think within 15 minutes they're like, okay, everything's great. Get back on the plane. And so we did, and we make it to Galveston, we get our luggage, and we get our shuttle.
Yeah.
And at this point, it's like seriously like a movie. Like shuttle.
We knew the whole time on the airplane, we were like, okay, we're landing at this time. Like we have to grab our stuff, head to the shuttle as fast as possible. Yeah. And because...
It's like an hour, 15-minute drive from the airport to...
from the airport we landed in Houston. It's about an hour and 15 minutes to the port. and we maybe had an hour and 40 minutes to get there before the boat left. And we got on that shuttle. I took a nap.
I don't know how. This guy was amazing. And he said it had auto assist. And it was windy AF. So he kept like, anytime he got even remotely close to a line, it would like jerk and auto correct him back into the lane or something.
It was wild.
My soul left my body about 5 times. Like, I don't know how people were sleeping. And he had permission from the company to speed within safety, as much as he felt comfortable with, to get us to the port as fast as possible.
Yeah.
And the shuttle service was talking to the cruise line saying, like, they are en route. They are with our driver. They are going to be there. Please do not leave without them. They've been through so much. And so we pull up to the port and we're like, can we still get on? They're like, you have to take your own luggage, like run up there. And so we get up there. I don't know. We were just relieved in the moment that everything paid off. I don't even know. I feel like I wanted to cry, but I think I was so exhausted I couldn't cry.
Yeah.
At the
there
same
was some
time.
crying there. Yeah. I felt a lot of emotion. I was just so relieved.
Yeah.
To be there, excited,
Yeah.
and happy that process was over.
Yeah. So we did. We made it on and, took our luggage on and got situated. And it doesn't stop there. Okay. The story does not.
It does not stop there. It does not. But I want to throw this out. This is an interesting little thing. So, walk on the boat, and the first person I see is somebody I went to high school with.
Right.
And I'm just like, holy crap! Like, we had.
Am I delusional from my sleep deprivation right now?
And so we had seen each other at a reunion earlier that year, but it's been like 20 years and I hadn't seen her. And then I saw her at the reunion and then I see her again. And I'm like, holy crap. Like,
what are the odds?
What are the odds here? And they came with a big family and half the family didn't make it because they were coming from Kansas City. It was kind of wild too.
Yeah.
So, but anywho, that was just interesting.
Yeah, for sure. So everybody's starving. We go drop our bags at our room. We decide to go find a little something to eat. And then they're getting ready to do like the bon voyage party up on the upper deck that you do when you start to set sail. That did not get to happen because it started storming. So we're leaving.
Lightning.
It's
thunder,
lightning. Yeah, all of the things. So all of the outside stuff is obviously closed. You can't go anywhere else on the ship except for indoors. So we decide to go to the buffet so we can eat. And the ship is just rocking. And we're all, because we're so exhausted. At this point, Mark and I have been up for 37 hours, I think.
Something like that.
It was exhausting. We're all just like zombies sitting at the table, eating our food. And we're all like, okay, let's go to bed now. It's like 7:30.
Yeah. Early bedtime for everybody.
Yeah. Everybody decided to go to bed. And we slept 12 solid hours. Like we were out. It was so nice.
Yeah. I love the gentle rocking of.
But it was not gentle that night.
Or not so gentle rocking of boats and whatnot. I've been sleeping on boats since I was a little child. So
same here. But you also have not birthed 2 children and have extreme motion sickness now. So thank you.
No, I can't do that. It's like not possible.
Okay. No, some would say. Digress. And the next day we got to enjoy just exploring the ship and being outside and checking out all the pools. And they had the flow riders, so the wave pool type. They're the like boogie boarding, surfing things. They had a huge slide, so they had water slides plus a dry slide that was like 6 floors tall. I did not do it. The kids loved it. Let's see. So we had 2 days at sea. Enjoyed that. Harmony of the Seas. Yeah, it was a Royal Caribbean. So if you want to look it up, it was really cool.
The food was great.
The food was delicious.
The weather was meh.
Yeah, I mean it's January, so the whole time
it got warmer though as we went south.
A little bit, but our first stop was Roatan, Honduras. Yay! We went to the little French Key. It was raining that morning as soon as we got off. And then it was overcast the rest of the day and kind of cool. Like I didn't get in the water. It was pretty chilly. Everybody else enjoyed snorkeling, and they have a lot of fun little stuff there.
We saw lots of cool fish,
Yeah.
crabs, and
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff.
And
so.
they have like an animal sanctuary.
Yep.
So they have like rescued animals like jaguars and
Lioness
a
and-
lioness and lion and
tigers and
did they have a tiger though? A jaguar.
oh yeah, you know they
Yeah.
had
Monkeys, pigs just roaming around. You can swim with the pigs, and then they have peacocks that are just running around free range, like really cool seeing them. They had some albino ones too, which are really, really cool. So yeah, it's like this whole experience that you can just go and chill for the day and
paddleboards and have lunch and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, we did it the last time we went in 2018, and I just really like it. So if you plan on doing a cruise, I'd highly recommend going to Honduras if you can get that. And then we went to Costa Maya the next day, and that was fun. The little port like shopping center had some pools there. They had some dolphin experiences there, and it was probably the nicest day that we had.
Yeah, definitely weather-wise.
But the one in Cozumel was actually nice too.
Costa Maya is a strange little place. I've heard some of the history after that by talking to some of the people on the cruise, but I guess Royal just bought like the whole town and city recently. And so it's just like their port town essentially. And so there wasn't like,
and the next town is like 2 hours away. So it's like pretty remote.
Yeah, there were some beaches and stuff. It was very interesting though. It was very much like, if you've ever been on a cruise they have the island, Coco Key or something like that, where it's kind of like their thing. Yeah. And that's kind of what it was like, but it was cool. They had
lots of shopping,
birds and
flamingos, and it's like they have these like almost like treehouse like structures and bridges that go in between buildings and stuff. It's really cool. It was fun. They have sand in there and lawn chairs and a pool and like a swim up pool, and
we had a couple guys custom paint some surfboards. Yeah, they're art for us,
like the spray paint artists, if you've seen those. Yeah, that was cool.
And I had probably one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had on a trip.
You're gonna share, okay?
Yeah, I want to share this because it's so odd. I'm standing there with my son. We're watching these artists paint, and this woman is kind of behind us. She's at the ATM, and then all of a sudden she turns around and she just starts yelling like, they've got my kid, and everyone's like, what is happening? And like, I'm waiting for this story. Initially it's like, hey, they got your kid, there's plenty of us, let's go get them.
Yeah.
And it's like, is this a hostage situation? What is happening? And then like more of the story starts coming out, like the ATM's not giving her money, she needs to pay the cab driver, but he said $30, now it's $50, and the ATM's not working, but her husband's right there too, and he's not all up in arms, and so she's like freaking out, and I'm like,
but
what
the kid is
happening?
In the taxi by themselves.
And I'm like, what is happening? Then to come to find out, no, they have friends with them that are with their kid at the taxi, and it's like, okay. And then next thing I know, she's speaking like perfect Spanish to all these people around us, like workers and stuff, and I'm like, is this a setup? Yeah. But she's like not asking for money from everybody, because if it was like a setup, she'd be like, I need, $1,000. Do you have 50, 100, whatever, and then like run off with your money or something. Like, so I'm just like, this is so strange.
I was not there for that.
No, but the more it like came out, like it was like, oh, this is some weird thing where like they didn't have the money to pay the taxi cab driver, and no one has their kid. And I was like, I just tell them, too bad.
About to go Liam Neeson on him. And
right? I at first, that's where I was at. I was like, we can handle this. It's not a big problem. And then, but there was just something super weird about it. And then, like, at the end of the day, if it was me and I didn't have the money, I couldn't get the money, I go take my kid, I'd walk away, go to the ship, say, call the police, deal with it. Sorry you're out money, but I can't give you any. I'm not going to leave my kid. That's just weird.
Yeah. Even if you are with friends, no.
Yeah, no. And what would most likely happen as I reflect on this story is I would stay with the driver. Bree would go get money with our kids. I'm not leaving some kid. Like, no.
Yeah.
But
and it could
the
have been
friends
a
were
teenager.
there.
But anywho, yeah,
Yeah.
that was
But
wild.
it was like, there was a lot of emotions I had in that moment of like, why is no, like, it's kind of like when they say, if you yell out, someone call 911, no one does anything. And
it needs to be a direct, like,
yeah, it's
you call 911. Yeah.
It's a diffusion of responsibilities, what we call it.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's like, well, somebody's going to do it. It's not me. And so I got to witness that play out because everyone just kind of looked around at each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a very odd experience, and I'm glad everything was okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad there was no actual abduction or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, and even the workers like, yeah, this is not a real thing. They just kind of like looked like in skeptical, like what's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
And so they started talking. They got security and whatnot of the place. But yeah, it was wild.
That is interesting.
It was wild for the first minute or two until the story started to unfold more.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that was Costa Maya. Then the next day we had Cozumel. And this was a day that we were all so looking forward to. So I have to just tell you, I don't know if we told this on our reflection podcast of the year. I did vision boards with the kids for the first time this year. And one of the things that Remington put on his vision board is that he wanted to pet a dolphin. I have no idea where that...
He's never said anything about
He's
that.
Never talked about this before. I have no idea where this came from. And so I was like, okay, cool. Put that on there. And I kid you not, literally that night, I get a call from my stepmom. And she's like, hey, we're looking at excursions in Cozumel. Do you guys want to go swim with the dolphins? And I'm like, are you effing kidding me right now? Like, is this real life? And then I told her, I was like, Remington literally put that on his vision board today that he wanted to pet dolphins. So yes, absolutely. We want to go pet the dolphins.
Well, and the other part of the story is like the kids didn't know that they're going on this trip. It was until he put that on the vision board before he even knew he was going on this trip. Oh, I thought he...
Nope.
That's not true?
No.
Oh,
that's false.
Okay. Never mind then.
False memory.
No, I wasn't.
We found out...
I don't know when you did vision boards is the problem.
Like on New Year's Day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They knew right before Christmas that they were going on the trip.
Yeah, it was a surprise.
Yeah.
Christmas surprise.
Anyway, but we didn't talk about it. We didn't talk about excursions. We didn't talk about anything that like we would talk about the ship and how that process worked and what, you know. So yeah. So the night before, my stepmom tells Remington, she's like, hey, I heard you had something on your vision board and you want to pet a dolphin. He's like, yeah. And she's like, well, tomorrow we're going to go swim with the dolphins. Mm-hmm. And he's like face lit up. He's like, what? And like so excited. We're all so excited. Rona fell asleep at dinner that night.
Yep.
Like at 7:30. Which again, so our dinner time was at 7. It was a 2-hour dinner like experience, like every night. Again, our kids are used to going to bed at like 8:30 at the latest. They were up until probably 10, some nights 10:30 because of dinner and things like that. So we're like, oh, she's just exhausted. It's okay. Let her sleep. 3:00 in the morning, she gets up and throws up and she is like burning up.
Yeah.
And back to before we were leaving, we had all Sunday morning that we were going to have some extra time in Galveston before getting on the ship. I was like, oh, I need to go to the store, get some snacks. We were going to get our drinks and our water for our stateroom. I needed to get kids' medicine because I was out and didn't have time to get it before we left and didn't get to happen. And of course, she got sick. So she's sick. Remy wakes up with a terrible headache and we're like, okay, what is happening? Give him some, he can swallow pills. So we got him some Tylenol. Mm-hmm. And he took that and he was feeling better. He wasn't running fever or anything. He just had a headache. I'm like, okay, cool. So we had to make the decision, but he wasn't eating. And that's a telltale sign for him too. Mm-hmm. We made the decision that Mark would stay behind with Rona and take care of her because the dolphin thing is kind of like me and Remy and like more excited. And so we made the decision to leave and go, thank you, right in my face.
Just try not to cough in the mic.
Um, so my dad is also sick. My brother is also sick. And so our group dwindled. And then the others, so two stepbrothers and their girlfriends, were going to go on a different excursion that day, but their excursion got completely canceled. So they were joining us for our dolphin experience. So we get to the place. We're trying to check in. I'm checking in with Mark. How's Rona doing? She hasn't thrown up anymore. She's doing fine.
Better.
She was doing better. Trying to see if they could make it to have this experience. And so we were navigating that. We took a taxi to the place. We're trying to get checked in. We're trying to tell them, like, we have this different number of adults, this different number of kids, like all the things. And
yeah,
I mean, it was probably an hour process getting that all sorted out, but Mark and Rona were able to make it. Long story long, we were able.
Yeah, we took a cab. We made it.
Yeah, made it.
She was doing all right. She was feeling better.
Yeah, she was doing okay. And yeah, this place was really cool. I can't even pronounce the name of it. But it's a big like experience place because they've got like sea lion shows, they've got the dolphins, they've got like a little beach experience.
They got a great
like, it's
reef.
A really,
like
yeah,
we went snorkeling off this and it was absolutely amazing. Yeah, the dolphin experience in Cozumel.
Yeah, and we did this again like in 2018 when we went the last time.
Chaka something.
Yeah,
or
Chaka Kanuba something.
Something.
Chaka Kanuba, yeah. We'll tag it, but definitely recommend. I mean, it was a good experience overall. Yeah, so we got to go swim with the dolphins, and
the dolphins had babies.
They had babies,
like 6-month-old babies that were with them, and the babies just played while we did the dolphin experience.
Yes, so their mamas are working, and I'm just like, oh, I feel like this is my life. I'm at home working, and my babies are just like hanging around and playing. It was like really cool.
They're working girls.
Yeah. But yeah, we got to swim with them, where you grab their fins and then they swim with you. And then we did it where you lay down and then they come up and push your feet. And so then you come out of the water and it was like, oh, it's so cool.
We got some great pictures.
Yes. Remington was big enough that he could do that this year. Rona was not. She couldn't do any of the actual swimming parts. But she got to pet them and, gave her a kiss and like all that stuff and be in the water with them, which was really cool. Yeah. So yeah, we just hung out and took it easy, went back. At this point, everybody is starting to go downhill. We woke up the next day was our last day at sea before we got back, and the weather was also just not great.
No, the night before we got an announcement. The captain of the ship said, hey, we're going to go through this storm front about 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 to 8. We're going to get like
12 to 14 foot swells.
Yeah, 12 to 14 foot waves. So just, it's going to rock. It's nothing big enough to bother this ship or anything. Just, make sure there's nothing overhead
that can
fall on you.
No big deal.
And so, yeah, that was interesting. And we definitely hit it a little later, but it was moving some. Yeah. But our kids did not feel good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that next day, and again, the weather was just like kind of not great.
Yeah.
Really windy and chilly. And
I think a high of like 57 degrees or something. It wasn't great.
Yeah. So they weren't feeling good and I wasn't feeling good. And, yeah, so we basically just like bunkered down in our room for the day and just vegged and watched movies and, packed and stuff like that. That was it. Because we had to be out early the next morning to get our flight back.
Yeah, because our flights were, to get there, we bought one-way tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was so hectic and crazy.
We're like, let's just get there and then we'll figure out how to get home.
And then we got plane tickets back and everyone was on different flights and whatnot. And there's some earlier flights and some later flights. And so we wanted to make sure everyone made it.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, we got delayed a bunch and got home really late.
We were supposed to be back. So we got the earlier flights because we have kids. We were supposed to be back at 5:30 p.m. We ended up getting delayed and bumped
Yes. Missed our
And
connecting flight.
yeah, we missed our connecting flight in
Dallas.
Houston.
Well, Dallas.
Oh,
From
Dallas.
Houston.
Yeah, yeah. And so we were originally like got bumped back, and our flight was going to be like 10 o'clock. Yeah. So we made it back at like 11:30. Again, a long travel day. Kids did great, even though at this point now Remington is sick and like really not doing well.
Yeah.
Running a fever and all that fun stuff. Yeah. So we were home, and we've literally just been recovering this past week. Excuse me. We've been covering this just from all of the high energy, just letting our nervous system relax, being back into our routine, healing, just getting better. Yeah, I'm just really grateful, reflecting on our decision to homeschool, because we didn't have that stress or pressure of like, okay, well, you're not running a fever, you need to go back to school because you can only miss so many days. We didn't have that. We got to just be present and let things run their course. And yeah, I'm just really grateful for that. Even though today was a little bit, you're going back to school. I'm done with this. And we haven't even officially started homeschooling yet. So I could do like a whole.
Yeah, we're going to have some podcasts on that.
Yes, I will do a whole podcast on all of that. But yeah, so reflections overall. Thanks for tuning into our story. Hopefully you enjoyed it. More than we enjoyed the experience.
You know, it was definitely an experience. There was points that were absolutely amazing, and then points that were hard, terrible even.
Yeah.
Well, I think a couple things that reflections about the whole trip. I like cruising, but it's so go. And with younger kids, we didn't do the whole like adventure, whatever,
like kids
camp
club thing.
Yeah, so you know, it was going all the time, and you know, is that vacation? Is it not? Do we need a vacation after vacation?
Yeah.
So I declared after this one that I don't know that I mean, we don't go that often on cruises, but
about every 5 years.
yeah, that I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Every 5 years, unless it was just you and I. I'd go on a cruise just with us, because you know, it's just easier to navigate with less people.
Yeah.
What we want, what we don't want. When you're in a big group like that, 12 people, it's like, what does everyone want?
Yeah. Well, and just too, traveling with kids, like they didn't like any of the shows or things that we wanted to go to. We couldn't because they were at 8 and 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
And 8 o'clock was in the middle of our dinner time, and then 10 o'clock is too late. Like, where am I going to put my kids, right? Like, I'm not going to just leave them in their room by themselves. They're just still young enough that I don't feel comfortable with that. And so there's
maybe
just
when they get a little older.
Yeah, I mean, if they're older, yeah, like 12, 18, you know, older.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's reflect on our relationship and how we navigated the intense traveling, like again, traveling through inclement weather, both ways, navigating traveling with 2 young kids and the emotions that were arising during that time, the disappointments and uncertainty, and what made this a solid experience, I guess.
Well, I think for me, what's coming through right now is how in step we were and dedicated to the partnership of coming together, and if we needed to talk about something, navigate something. And I think there's some level of like, I don't know why it happened so well this time.
Yeah.
I mean, I know why. It's because we put
years
effort on
of
it.
work.
We work on it. We talk about it. But there are times where I don't know if you've got, I imagine the listeners can relate to this, but both people are trying to lead or both people are trying to follow, and it doesn't work very well.
Yeah.
So it just worked really well. Whenever I was leading, you just kind of naturally was support and followed. And whenever you were leading, I was naturally like supporting and like, yeah, sounds great. Let's do this. And so it was just like our dynamics
Yeah.
that we've worked so hard on just flowed, and it was like this
Yes.
flow state the whole time.
Yep.
I mean, one thing I will say, we did not have time together. We did not get to have sex either. And like when you're in a stateroom, 2 kids, the last day was my best shot. I enjoy connecting with you, and it was like, oh, we'll kick these kids out and they can go do whatever.
Yeah, they can go up to the pool
Yeah.
and whatnot, and then they were sick. So
And then they were sick, and the weather was crappy, and it was like, oh, well, we got.
and I
yeah.
wasn't feeling good, so it's like it's
Yeah,
not
that,
happening.
Nope. Not
Yeah.
happening.
Yeah.
So that's interesting for me,
Mhm.
because how do you navigate that? How do you navigate that with 2 kids on a ship and all this other stuff?
Well, just vacation in general.
Yeah,
like, how do you-
vacation, family vacation.
And I think some people do take advantage if they don't have family traveling with them. They take advantage of the kids club if you feel comfortable with that. Sometimes I'm like, do I want my kids around these people? That's just me. Again, homeschooling, so we know how I feel. Yeah, or you do have family on the cruise with you, and then you do take advantage of those moments like, hey, you guys go to the pool or go explore, do something, and then you get to have some one-on-one time. So it's just being intentional about it.
Yeah, and I feel like our time was so packed. I mean, we didn't, just you and I didn't sit down for dinner really or do anything like together.
Yeah.
And
It was
that
a
was
trip for the kids.
yeah, that was kind of just the circumstances and the
Yeah.
chaos going through it, and
Mhm.
but it was okay. Like,
Yeah.
wasn't a problem.
No, I don't feel any upset and I don't feel like you have any resentment or
No.
upset about it either. Like it was what it was. And I think that's, again, a testament to the consistency that we have built into our communication, and just like our communication is so rock solid.
Yeah.
I will shameless brag about that for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, I got to see you a lot in a swimsuit. I was kind of rock solid too, but
oh my God, Mark. I can't.
you heard it here.
We so we almost made it through a whole show.
Why would you want to do that?
I am honestly very impressed. That was a very quick.
Or a better word, not rock solid, but cock solid. Not that one, no.
Mark. Anywho, any other reflections or thoughts that you have on?
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like we could like do a whole other second part of this and talking about like the deep dives of.
Yeah, I mean,
dynamics.
I think the leadership dynamic and the follower and being able to flow in and out of that.
Yeah.
I think communication
Yeah.
and when we're in that flow state, it feels so intimate.
Yeah.
And so it feels
Very
so
connected.
connected
Yeah.
and beautiful.
Jinx.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say the other part of that is I want other people to experience this too.
Yeah.
I want other people to be able to go through difficult times, chaos, whatever that looks like, and come out the other side with a beautiful experience,
Yeah.
feeling closer to each other. And I know after the holidays, sometimes that's hard. I mean, the
Kids have been home for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and
and the stress of the holidays and
yeah, and the satisfaction is reported as dropped so much because
Yeah.
of the holidays and because of
January.
the stress.
I'll throw this little tidbit in there, like that January is the highest. The most divorces are initiated in January after
Yeah,
the
filed.
holidays. Filed. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Which is really sad.
I think this is where our program, Powerful Partnership, comes in.
Yeah.
It's everything we do, everything that we hope to do, everything as far as improve communication, deepen connection, increase intimacy, all of the above.
Yeah.
That puts us in a spot to navigate these things.
For sure.
And I tell everyone, I tell our friends and everybody else. That's one of the things that was most impressive about the trip was us and how we showed up together.
Yep.
I think how we showed up with the family. I think how we showed up for our kids.
Yeah.
I give us a 10 out of 10.
Heck yeah. I'll say 9.5 because there's always room for improvement. But we did pretty fucking good. Like, I'm honestly so impressed, and I'm not saying this because I'm like, oh, we're perfect. Like we still have our moments.
Oh, we're not perfect.
Sure. Like, we're human.
But we're pretty damn awesome.
But this acknowledging how good this experience was and celebrating it is super important. And I just want to put that invitation out there as well to you guys. Celebrate your relationship. When you have moments where you're like, fuck yeah, we did that. Like, go us, high five, right? Celebrate that. Really acknowledge how connected you were through an experience and how you navigated it, because that's going to just encourage more of that in the future. And also, when you do have the dips that are inevitably going to happen, you can be like, it's okay, because we know we're capable of this. This is just a little dip. We're going to get back to that anyways. It doesn't mean that we're any less like in love or like connect, like just natural. Yeah. And so I'm very proud of us. Very impressed.
Go us.
Yay.
High five.
So if you guys have any questions, about anything that you heard about the cruise, about how to really dial in your relationship, your communication for, future whatever, just because. Yeah. Like Mark said, powerful partnership is like all of things. 18 years of experience being in a relationship together, having 2 kids, 30 years of experience in our professions combined. Yeah. Like we know a thing or two. We can help. And yeah, we have our next round. First call starts January 27th. So
that's pretty quick.
Yeah. And it's a self-paced course, which is awesome. You can do it at your own pace, and then you get to join the calls whenever you start jumping in. So if you're interested, let us know.
It's awesome. Community group calls and tech support, all this other stuff. So yeah, it's a beautiful process. I love it. Yeah. And that was a heck of a trip.
Yeah, sure was.
Let's not do that again.
Yeah,
how about that?
We're going to stay put for a couple months.
Yeah, going resort style next time where, we can just push it back and you don't miss a ship.
I think that's what's appealing about the RV life. Like, for a little bit, you can just go with the flow and what you want to do. So that is a conversation for another time. But all right. I think this is pretty good. All right, y'all. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.